Imagine standing in like a pitch black cell.
Okay, setting the scene.
Right. And in front of you is one of the greatest hip-hop artists of all time.
Really? Who?
Biggie Smalls. But he's wearing a hospital gown, and he's burning from the inside out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's just waiting to be put into this demonic industrial juicer.
A juicer. That is terrifying.
It is. And look, this isn't a leaked script for a new psychological horror movie or something. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most wildly vivid, visceral, and honestly controversial out-of-body experiences ever recorded.
It really is the absolute definition of narrative shock and awe. I mean, when you look at standard cultural expectations for near-death or supernatural encounters, we usually get a very, peaceful aesthetic.
Like the warm tunnel of light.
Exactly. The warm light, a gentle sense of serenity, maybe a vague voice telling you it isn't your time yet. But the material we are looking at today completely shatters that mold.
Completely. So welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today, we're unpacking a transcript from a viral YouTube interview on a channel called God's Voice today.
Right.
The guest is a woman named Queen Q. Dixon, and she's detailing this series of incredibly graphic, terrifying, and profoundly specific supernatural visions.
Yeah, we should probably be super clear right up front about our mission today. Right?
Yes, absolutely. We are not here to debate theology.
No.
We aren't taking sides on any religious claims, and we're definitely not trying to prove or disprove the supernatural.
Exactly. Instead, we really want to examine the fascinating architecture of Queen's visions.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack the profound psychological layers of her testimony.
Which are intense.
Very. And we'll look at what these visceral modern morality tales tell us about human nature. Our cultural obsession with fame and our deep-seated desire for spiritual clarity.
Yeah, because regardless of your personal belief system, the sheer detail and the emotional weight of her account, it provides this remarkable window into how the human mind conceptualizes ultimate good and ultimate evil.
It's totally fascinating.
So for you listening right now, whether you're deeply spiritual, a hardcore skeptic, or just like insanely curious about the extremes of human psychology, stick with us.
You won't regret it.
I promise this deep dive will offer some major aha moments about the frameworks we build to understand the infinite.
Oh, absolutely.
But to truly understand the visual and emotional vocabulary of Queen's visions, we have to start with her extreme beginnings.
Right, because the context of her childhood is everything here.
It really is. So she was raised in a hyper-strict Christian home in New Jersey. She has 16 biological siblings.
16? Wow.
Yeah, massive family. Her father was a minister. Her mother was an evangelist. This was a household that was entirely shielded from secular media.
When you say entirely media?
I mean, no secular music, no television shows outside of like carefully curated content, no makeup.
Oh, okay.
No wearing pants for the girls. And church on Sunday meant you were there from early morning until 10 or 11 at night.
It is a very insulated, highly controlled environment. And think about how a mind raised without secular media processes the world.
Right.
Because she lacked a traditional secular vocabulary for anxiety or fear or even basic adolescent development, her subconscious had to use the only language it had available.
Which was biblical extremes.
Exactly. Her imagination from day one was built on a foundation of angels, demons, prophecy, and divine judgment.
And that foundation kicks in incredibly early. Like from the age of 2, Queen claims she possessed this inexplicable knowing and experienced these really vivid flash visions.
At 2?
Yeah. She recounts a story where as a 2.5-year-old toddler, she prophesied the murder of her own grandfather.
Oh my goodness.
And her mother would supposedly listen to her, pray on it, and the visions would come to pass. But I have to push back here a bit.
I was going to say, that's a lot to process.
Right, because I struggle to understand how a 2-year-old even has the cognitive framework to prophesy a murder. Is she, like, remembering this retroactively, or is the source material claiming this was documented in real time?
That is such a crucial question. The source transcript presents it as a factual chronological event. But from a psychological standpoint, we are likely looking at the power of retroactive family mythology.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, when you are raised in a household that highly values spiritual revelation, the adults around you will interpret your childhood babble or nightmares through a prophetic lens.
See, they project meaning onto it.
Exactly. Her mother likely assigned prophetic weight to a toddler's distress And over decades of family storytelling, that event crystallizes in Queen's mind as her origin story.
That makes a lot of sense.
What really matters is that Queen believes she has been tethered to this supernatural frequency since before she could even form complex sentences.
And what's incredibly frustrating for her is that her parents never actually explained to her what these gifts of the spirit were.
Right, they just let it happen.
Yeah. And for anyone listening who might not be familiar with that specific charismatic jargon, what exactly does she mean by gifts of the spirit?
In her specific theological background, gifts of the Spirit refers to supernatural abilities granted by God.
Like superpowers, kind of.
Sort of, yeah. Things like the ability to prophesy, the discernment of spirits, or the power to heal. But because her parents treated it as almost mundane, or failed to give her a pastoral framework to manage it, she felt completely unmoored.
Left to figure it out on her own.
Right. Imagine experiencing things so far outside the bounds of normal human perception, but having absolutely no mentor to guide you through the terror of it.
It would be terrifying. She literally says the isolation made her think she was losing her mind.
I can imagine.
She mentions attempting suicide at the age of 19 simply because she wanted all the weirdness to stop. She just wanted the standard American dream, you know?
Yeah.
A degree, a house, a normal family.
And that is a deeply human theme. When we experience profound internal friction and the authority figures in our lives fail to give us a vocabulary for those experiences, the isolation can become fatal. She is trying to escape her own perception.
Which leads to a period of intense rebellion. As she gets older, she tries to force herself into a normal, secular life.
Right, running the other way.
Yeah, she starts partying, drinking, smoking. She has the looks and the ambition to be a star.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's auditioning for music videos with the rapper Heavy D. She's trying out for Charlie's Angels, trying to get into Ebony magazine. She is fully immersing herself in what she calls a life of sin.
But the visions don't stop.
No. If anything, they intensify.
Wow.
It makes me think of an analogy. It's like Queen has this high-powered, incredibly demanding app running in the background of her smartphone.
Oh, I like that.
Right, it's draining the battery, it's causing the screen to glitch, it's interrupting all her other basic programs, and she absolutely cannot figure out how to delete it or even turn it off. The app just keeps running, no matter what she's trying to do on the home screen.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. The battery drain, in your analogy, perfectly captures the emotional toll of carrying an undeletable spiritual burden.
It just wears you out.
Exactly. The theological explanation she gives in the transcript is that the gifts of God are without repentance, meaning they operate whether you are living righteously or not.
Oh, wow.
But psychologically, this creates a terrifying cognitive dissonance. I mean, she is living a secular partying lifestyle, but she is simultaneously seeing angels and demons everywhere she goes.
And it becomes physical, too. She talks about waking up every night for 26 years with physical demonic claw marks down her back and legs.
26 years.
Yeah, and real angels screaming at her to change her ways. So we have this massive internal friction. She's trying to live a normal, secular life of ambition and parties while literally dodging screaming supernatural entities.
That tension has to snap eventually.
And it does. It finally collides in a singular, reality-breaking moment on a sunny afternoon, March 25, 2007.
The inciting incident of the entire narrative.
Right. It's a Saturday afternoon. She's living alone. She tells the Lord she's going to take a nap and then clean her apartment. She lies down, and suddenly her mattress starts to wave like it's made of water.
Just completely out of nowhere.
Totally. She pushes herself up, says the name Jesus, and instantly she is out of her body, standing on the floor of her apartment.
And her reaction in that exact moment is so incredibly telling about how the human brain processes trauma and the impossible.
What strikes me here is how she bridges the gap between the infinite and the mundane.
Right.
She looks at her own physical shell lying on the bed. She doesn't realize it's her body yet, and her first thought is, who is this fat woman in my bed, and why is my bed rolling?
It's such a funny, relatable response.
It is. She starts wondering if she left the door unlocked or if this strange woman somehow got her address.
It totally grounds the narrative. Before the cosmic horror begins, her brain desperately tries to apply everyday logic to an impossible situation.
Like, oh, there's just an intruder.
Right. But that mundane confusion evaporates the second she steps out of time and into what she calls eternity.
This is where the architecture of the afterlife in her narrative becomes incredibly vivid. She is suddenly transported to a majestic, massive hall. The walls are completely covered in blinding diamonds.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. She initially assumes she must be in heaven. Standing in front of her are hundreds of global religious leaders.
Like who?
Bishops, pastors, teachers from China, Japan, Italy, Iran, and they are all wearing clothes cut from the exact same diamonds that cover the walls.
It's a striking visual. And what's fascinating here is that the Holy Spirit is standing next to her and explains that this is actually the living dead.
The living dead.
Yeah. These leaders look like perfect, polished Christians to the outside world. They are well-spoken, well-dressed, massively influential. But inwardly, they harbor evil, unforgiveness, and a lack of love. They are all on their way to hell.
I have to push back on the diamond metaphor, though. You're saying it represents a cold, impenetrable facade of holiness.
Yes.
But in traditional biblical imagery, like the Book of Revelation, diamonds and jewels usually represent heavenly glory and the New Jerusalem. Isn't it entirely contradictory that her subconscious is using heaven's aesthetic to describe the damned?
It is contradictory, but that is exactly why the imagery is so potent.
Really?
Yeah, it is a deliberate subversion of a biblical trope. By taking the ultimate symbol of heavenly value, the diamond, and applying it to the damned, her vision is arguing that human beings are terrible judges of spiritual reality.
Or just look at the shiny surface.
Exactly. We see the dazzle, the hardness, the light reflection, and we assume it's divine. But as you noted, diamonds are inherently cold and dead.
That makes sense.
The vision uses the very aesthetic of heaven to mask the reality of hell, which perfectly encapsulates the concept of religious hypocrisy. It's an outward show of flawless piety masking inward spiritual death.
That makes total sense. And that theme of deceptive appearances transitions perfectly into the sheer, terrifying surrealism of what she sees next.
Because it gets weirder.
Way weirder. The environment radically shifts. She is suddenly suspended in complete nothingness, just an endless void. Below her is a round platform held in place by a spinning funnel, which she identifies as the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And standing on this platform is God. But it's not the Sistine Chapel old man with a white beard. She describes God as a 100-foot-tall outline of a human made entirely of water.
Wow.
No facial features, just a massive liquid silhouette holding absolute terrifying power.
Which is a fascinating theological construct.
Right.
Water is formless, it is life-giving, but it is also an overwhelming, uncontrollable force of nature that can drown you.
It's primal.
Right. It strips away the comforting, grandfatherly imagery of the divine and replaces it with pure elemental scale.
And then, out of that same void, a 30-foot brown gate appears. When the gates open, she doesn't just see the traditional lake of fire. She sees absolute pitch-black darkness.
Just void.
Yeah, and God tells her that in this place, your eyes will never adjust. The darkness isn't just an absence of light. It is a living, separate, evil entity.
Notice the cause and effect in her architectural world building here. We have this living, consuming darkness reserved for those who lived in deception.
Right.
But that creates a narrative and theological problem for Queen. If the secretly wicked, the religious hypocrites in diamond clothes, are punished in this void, how does the afterlife handle people who were loudly, unapologetically, publicly idolized?
And here's where it gets really interesting. This brings us to her celebrity visions. Let's talk about the inferno of icons.
Yes, let's.
Queen is very clear that hell holds billions of souls. But she notes a terrifying caveat about Christians, or those who knew the truth and consciously rejected it, are tormented 5 times worse than anyone else.
5 times worse. That's a huge distinction.
Right. So in 2016, while living in Senegal, she lies down for a nap, and suddenly she's standing in hell right beside Jesus. And she sees the iconic rapper Biggie Smalls.
The Notorious B.I.G.
Right. He is in a caved-out hole in the wall with vertical black bars. He's guarded by 2 demons that are 13 or 14 feet tall.
Good grief.
These demons are so pitch black they blend into the living darkness. You can only see them when they open their eyes and reveal stark white pupils. And Biggie is wearing a hospital gown. He's burning, but the fire is coming from the inside out.
That is such a specific, horrifying detail.
It is. And wait, before we get to his actual punishment, she specifically mentions that Biggie went to a fetish priest for charms to gain his fame.
Oh, okay.
For someone listening who equates the word fetish purely with modern internet culture or psychology, what exactly does a fetish priest mean in the context of West African or Caribbean spiritual practices?
That's a really important clarification. In West African traditional religions and various diasporic practices, a fetish is a physical object believed to have supernatural powers, often inhabited by a spirit.
Okay.
A fetish priest is a spiritual intermediary who consults these spirits or deities on behalf of a client. Queen's narrative claims that Biggie engaged in spiritual transactionalism, trading his soul or his allegiance to these entities in exchange for immense earthly wealth and lyrical power, and explicitly telling Jesus he didn't need him.
And the punishment for that supposed transaction is gruesome.
The juicer.
Yes. The demons take Biggie out of the cell, put a king's robe and a golden crown on him, bind him, and put him into what she describes as a demonic juicer.
Just industrial brutality.
Exactly. She says that even though there are no bones in hell, you still feel the excruciating pain of your bones breaking. He is ground into a bloody mush. His body reforms exactly as it was. They put him back in the cell, shut the door, and he explodes like a bomb. Over and over for eternity.
The mechanics of this vision are extraordinary. I mean, think about how her mind is constructing these images. In medieval times, someone like Dante wrote the Inferno and populated it with pitchforks, boiling pitch, and freezing lakes.
Right, classic imagery.
Dante used a concept called contrapasso, where the punishment meticulously mirrors the sin. Queen is updating the contrapasso for the 21st century.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Biggie called himself a king in life, so the demons mockingly dress him in a crown before destroying him. He is reduced to ultimate vulnerability, forced to wear a hospital gown.
And the juicer?
The demonic juicer is a mechanical, modern manifestation of being spiritually crushed. Her mind is translating ancient spiritual anxieties into modern industrial terror.
She also describes seeing Michael Jackson. She claims he was an earthly warlock who literally got his famous dance moves from demons.
And his punishment.
The demons force him to dance for eternity, beating him with whips every time he stops.
Again, we see the meticulously tailored contrapasso. The dancer is forced to dance until the art form that made him a global deity becomes pure, inescapable agony.
It's tragic, honestly.
It is. If we look at why these specific celebrities appear, it reflects a deep, pervasive societal anxiety about fame. The narrative suggests that absolute earthly fame is unnatural, that it requires a Faustian bargain.
That you have to sell your soul.
Exactly. It strips these untouchable cultural icons of all power, placing them in a cosmic hierarchy where their earthly success is the exact source of their eternal torment.
It's sobering. Queen says she was so terrified after these celebrity visions that she just wanted to sell everything she owned and go live under a rock to hide from the spiritual realm.
I don't blame her.
Right. But you can't sustain pure cosmic horror indefinitely. And the transcript pivots beautifully here. From the incomprehensible, mechanized horrors of hell, she moves to a shockingly intimate, incredibly specific description of the divine.
Which is structurally necessary. A human mind cannot sustain a vision of pure, unending terror without snapping. It needs to provide itself with a psychological anchor.
And her anchor is wonderfully specific. Queen gives an unorthodox, highly detailed physical description of Jesus.
Whoa.
She says he is exactly 6'4" tall.
Wow.
He is barrel-chested, he has greenish-blue eyes, an incredibly long nose bridge, and a chin-strap beard, meaning the beard traces his jawline, but his cheeks are bare.
The chin-strap beard.
Yeah. And she's adamant that he is handsome, but not in a soft, classical Renaissance painting kind of way.
It's a very grounded, almost blue-collar description. A chin-strap beard is such a specific contemporary detail. It's not an ethereal, glowing spirit. It's a physically imposing, tangible man.
Right. And then she shares this incredibly casual, almost awkward anecdote. The week before Michael Jackson died, Queen wakes up to go to the bathroom and sees a massive man standing in her closet.
Just standing there.
Yeah. She ignores him, thinking her eyes are playing tricks on her in the dark. She walks back into her bedroom, and Jesus is just standing there.
The creator of the universe standing next to her bed.
Right. She mentally asks, "What are you doing here?" And Jesus looks at her and telepathically replies, "I live here with you."
That is such a fascinating, quiet moment after all the bombast of the juicers and the diamond rooms.
And what strikes me here is her reaction. Queen doesn't fall to her knees in cinematic worship. She's in shock.
Right, like any normal person would be.
So she turns around like a zombie to go fetch clean sheets from the linen closet, thinking she needs to offer the Lord of all creation a fresh bed to sleep in.
That is amazing.
And Jesus stops her and says, "I don't need that. Come stand here with me."
As an analyst of human storytelling, this is brilliant. Look at the emotional journey she has taken us on.
It's quite the ride.
It really is. After experiencing the vast, faithless terror of a living darkness, and after seeing God as a 100-foot-tall outline of water that defies human comprehension, Queen's psyche provides an intensely grounded, physically specific, and emotionally warm anchor.
It's the contrast that makes it work.
Exactly. The contrast between the staggering industrial scale of a hell that holds billions of souls and the domestic, almost mundane intimacy of Jesus standing by your closet telling you he lives there.
It's wild.
That contrast is what makes the narrative so psychologically compelling. It shrinks the infinite, terrifying cosmos down to a scale the human mind can actually interact with, comprehend, and love.
So what does this all mean? Where does this leave Queen and where does it leave you, the listener? Queen's ultimate mission now is to warn people.
Right.
She is so profoundly burdened by what she's seen, by the idea of billions of souls burning beneath our feet, that she literally gives out her personal cell phone number and her email address on a public YouTube video. She begs people to call her.
Which is an incredible demonstration of absolute conviction.
Yeah.
You do not invite the chaos of the internet into your personal life like that unless you genuinely believe you are holding a life or death truth.
Completely. And her practical advice boils down to a few key things: daily repentance, constant prayer, and most importantly, specifically asking to be shown the true condition of your own heart. Because in her framework, intention is the only thing that matters.
It is a radical call for absolute inward transparency.
It really is. She stresses that you can live a squeaky clean life. You can say the right prayers, go to the right church, and look perfect to the outside world, just like those leaders in the diamond clothes.
Right, the shiny exterior.
But if your heart's intention is wrong, if you harbor secret malice or pride or unforgiveness, the outward actions mean absolutely nothing.
It's all a facade.
For you listening, regardless of what you believe about the afterlife, this deep dive challenges us to look past our own curated actions and ruthlessly interrogate our underlying motives.
I agree completely. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought, a different angle on this entire narrative that we haven't really touched on yet.
Okay, what's that?
Think about the room of the living dead and those clothes cut from diamonds. In our own lives, religious or secular, what dazzling diamond-hard facades have you constructed to show the world you have it all together?
Oh, that's a great question.
And if time suddenly stopped today, what would be left when those diamonds shatter?